We are live! Friday nights on the Bayou, the Nightcap, week 3. Right now, we got no people viewing, but that's because we just started. I'm also going to let it be known on Twitter that we are live at the moment. Jace, crazy games,
Oh
crazy
man,
matchups, a lot of upsets. I believe this Friday's on crack. I truly believe that. I probably shouldn't say that
yeah,
in the live, but that's the only way I can describe it. It was like Hurricane Francine, dude. Like you know how Hurricane Francine was like going here, they went over here, then it just
hmm
kept going all across. This was tonight.
yeah,
I mean, this was tonight. I mean, you've had all kinds of upsets. I'm just gonna announce some ones. So of course you got Franklin Parish beating Calvary.
that's
I
the
mean,
biggest
you
one.
have that's probably the most
That's
eye
the biggest
popping one.
one.
I believe U High beating Catholic was a little bit of an upset too,
Yeah,
because I mean we both the way Catholic's been looking the last few
right,
weeks.
right.
They just looked like a team that like they're just getting better and better every week.
hmm
Um, I mean just a lot of crazy games, man.
Yeah,
I mean just what are your overall thoughts? I mean just as results are coming
yeah,
in.
yeah. I mean, like the first 2 weeks, it was weather related. That's been crazy, hectic, and like it's been pretty normal in that end when in terms of the weather. But I mean, the football gods said, "Hey, let's play with Louisiana a little bit. Let's make things interesting." And it was an interesting week. I mean, sometimes it's some big upsets, right? I mean, we talked about U High over Catholic. I mean, we talked about Franklin Parish. That's the biggest one, that most eye popping one from a wild week over Calvary Baptist. But it's games like that are just really shocking to see. And I mean, it comes to show you that it's not okay. Every high school team is whoever's favorite is going to win. It's not like that anymore. Anybody can win on any given Friday, and having like seeing these upsets go around the state of Louisiana, it just makes Louisiana high school football more interesting, and it shows you the level of depth in the state. I mean, like huge wins for some programs we haven't really been talking about on this, whether it's on your show or my show. We haven't really talked about and discussed, and they really got themselves their limelight tonight. And I'm sure there's a lot of teams we'll be talking about that will get their credit tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure, Jace. I mean, you know, I was actually at the Dunham St. Charles game, and that game was going back and forth. It looked like St. Charles was going to win, just how well they played defensively. When you get in those low scoring battles with St. Charles, I mean, and you're down, like
Mm,
it's hard to come back. It's like being down like 30-0 to let's just say Bruston, right, in the second quarter. Like you got no hope. That's how it is that's how it's like to play St. Charles when you're down by 7 points. I mean, it's an uphill climb. It's an uphill battle for any team like that. But it's not, and that's not even that's a crazy game. But then you also had Chalmette beating Holy Cross,
yeah,
and that wasn't on my bingo. That wasn't on my bingo card.
right, right.
You also had Brother Martin like
Yeah,
coming back from behind, getting getting back in the lead. Then they go behind again, and then they come back and get in the lead. I mean, that game happened in Texas.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, a lot of
Saint,
big time games. I
can you
mean,
imagine this, Grant? I just never seen this before. St. Thomas More. You talk about the explosive offenses they've always had, the ability to score points, the ability to like every single year, right? Only
mhm.
score 7 points. I mean,
Yeah.
no matter the opponent. I mean, they played Acadian. Acadian is a great football team, obviously, a state championship program. But to see that offense, a very talented quarterback in Cole Bergeron, and that offense, that you have Jim Hightower, Shane Savoy, that brain trust, only score 7 points. That was really surprising to me. Not that fact that they lost, because Acadiana is a great football team, really good football team, state championship caliber, but to only score 7 points, that was shocking to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, just what game was that? I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Yeah,
share this out right
that was Acadiana and St. Thomas
now.
More.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about. Yeah, we actually talked about that a little bit. I was coming back from the Dunham St. Charles game,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, this was shocking though, like how, Uh, I don't want to. I want to put it as nice as possible because I mean, I know some people over there St. Thomas More, but they've
Right.
really been struggling offensively, and that's something that's been one of the. If you had to make a top five most shocking things throughout the high school football season, and we're only in week three. We're just finishing up week three. I mean, you still got some games tomorrow, of course.
Yeah.
But the fact that St. Thomas Ford offense has kind of been sputtering is pretty wild to me, just given how much success they have had. Really, ever since Hightower's been there. I mean, they've always been a high octane passing offense, and they can run the ball too, right? And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can run the ball effectively just as well as they pass. So it's really been shocking how much St. Thomas More's been struggling on offense. I mean, and I had the same questions about U High too, but U High, I mean, they pulled off a 27-21 victory over
Yeah.
Catholic of Baton Rouge in overtime. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the. I mean, we talked about Franklin Parish beating Calvert Baptist, and that
Yeah.
we'll get to that a little bit more of that later when some more
Yeah.
info comes out. But I mean, Catholic. I mean, the fact that U High beat Catholic. I
Yeah.
mean, that shocked me.
Right.
Just given how badly U High. I know the weather plays a factor in that, of course,
Yeah.
but it really shocked me how much U High's really been struggling on offense. I really thought, Catholic's defense was going to hold them down once again because they really someone's trying to figure some things out. But U High, that was probably the biggest win of the week. I mean, other than Franklin Parish beating Calvert Baptist, that was a huge win.
Right.
Huge win.
It was Grant, and really talking about like you mentioned Catholic's defense, how Catholic's defense has been playing through 2 weeks. I mean, they played Chachere, they played St. Thomas More, and they won defensive battles against two teams that proved to be explosive offensively the last couple of years. And then we talk about U High. I mean, we were both at the U High Rummel game and how they've struggled in that game. Even there was a monsoon, there was bad weather second half, but still they only scored 7 points in the first half. So when the weather was good, and they got a lot of really good offensive players. I looked at the score. I know one of our Gridiron Football interns was at the game and covering it, and I saw the update. Catholic was up 14-0, so it seemed like okay, they're going to kind of cruise their way to a win, and nope. And U High came storming back, and they ended up winning it in overtime. And I was listening to at least the overtime on the way back after the Episcopal game, and U High was able to score on one play when they got the ball first in overtime. I know Emil Picarella was able to connect with Zay Martin, and then Catholic had an opportunity, but they missed the extra point. So Catholic could have won the game when they got the football, but a lot of false starts, a lot of penalties, really brought them back, and then they forced Catholic to throw the football. It was intercepted in the end zone. That's how Catholic loses the game. So I don't know what is it, Grant, but right now, U High's got Catholic's number. I mean, they really do. I mean, Andy Martin, U High, they're able to beat Catholic last year, and that was a big win for U High last year. And again this year, even when U High was struggling a little bit going into this game, and when Catholic was rolling, looked like Catholic was off to a great start. For whatever reason, U High has Catholic's number, and we gotta acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, I mean, last year, I mean, I thought U High. I picked you. I mean, well, obviously we didn't do a show last year. I mean, at that time, so I was still at the Louisiana Football Magazine, and that was just before I joined Gridiron.
Right.
But I thought U High was going to win that game just based off because Catholic was dealing with some injuries at the time. You're going through new leadership, of course. That was Coach Bowler's first year at the helm over there at Catholic. But I was morally shocked that U High was able to be Catholic. I really was. Just given the last 2 weeks how they played offensively, like defensively, I thought U High's fine, right? I mean, there's no doubt that the defense is phenomenal. But the fact that U High's offense was able to figure out, I guess, one of the better defenses in the state. It's because you have to give a lot of credit to, of course, Emil Picarella leading the offense through some tough times, and of course, Coach Martin, but then also Coach Vice as well. I mean, just kind of turn around and score 27 points against that Catholic defense after you only scored, I believe, what it was like 10 points combined the last two games.
Yeah.
They made some great adjustments against this really tough Catholic defense. I mean, you know them. You covered them this spring. You're a Catholic high alum yourself.
Yeah.
So you also, I want to mention this too because this was a running joke. Throughout our friendship is that every time you pick Catholic, they lose. Every time you pick Catholic, they lose, or every time you pick Catholic not to win, they would win.
Well, I mean, I picked them against Destrehan. I picked them against St. Thomas More. So
True.
but it's just for whatever reason. I mean, U-High's got their
Yeah.
number. I mean, you just got to acknowledge that. And I mean, I'm not sure if Catholic was like over. I mean, it's kind of weird to say, knowing that you lost them last year, want to get revenge on them last year, but
Yeah, you got to think about that, man.
or overestimating them underestimating them, and man, like I was a shocker for sure. See U-High come back and win that football game. But what a win! I mean, we talk about Catholic and and how disappointing loss it was considering how they started the season, but that's huge for U-High. I mean, like even if they didn't win the game and you scored 21 points and you lose in overtime, I feel like you feel really good about where you're at if you're U-High, knowing that you're able to move the ball against a really good Catholic defense and really play toe to toe with them. So that's some reassurance. Say, hey, we'll be just fine. And but that was a big win. I think Zay Martin went live on social media and they were celebrating the locker room. So that's that type of game that can really turn around your season, especially early. And U-High, I mean, they came up like Grant. They came up short in games like that in the playoffs the last 2 years when they lost.
Yeah,
they lost to St. Charles Catholic, when they lost to Dunham in the semifinals. They came up on the short end of those games. So for them to win games like that against teams that will compete for a state championship like Catholic, it's a huge win for Coach Martin. Kudos to Coach Martin, Coach Weiss, that whole Cubs team for able to do that. Go and play Catholic, play from behind, come back and win that game was such a huge comeback for him, for sure. So huge win for U-High, and moving forward, like this is going to be the dangerous U-High team that we all expected at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah, no doubt, Jace. I mean, you know, I, I knew U-High was going to turn the corner eventually. I just didn't think it was going to be against Catholic, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure they were motivated by the fact that they didn't want to start off the season 1-2, right? You just don't want that to happen, right? Especially losing your second game against your longtime rivals in Catholic. I mean, that has become one of the better rivalries across the state, let alone Baton Rouge. I think every time U-High and Catholic play against each other, every the Friday that they play, the whole high school football season in Baton Rouge stops.
Yeah,
It just does because there's a large alumni base, right? Because I mean, there's a large alumni base, and Baton Rouge, of course. I mean, like a lot of people, a lot of the prominent figures you see in Baton Rouge, they either went to Catholic or they went to U-High.
Yeah, these are
right.
These are the two prominent programs in Baton Rouge. When you think of Baton Rouge, the first two names that pop up in your head are Catholic and U-High. So especially potential downtown Baton Rouge, like this is what you think about. You think of U-High, think of Catholic, and all kinds of high-star recruits, 5-star recruits. I mean, you got Bradford, you got Blaine Bradford on one side, Catholic. You got Keelan Moses, you got Lamar Brown on the other side, U-High. So a lot of college football talent on both sides of the football. It's a college football game, and that's the type of game that you expect. Either way, you expect an overtime, thrilling fourth quarter, down to the wire game anytime you get these two teams together, and that's what we happened. And U-High was the better team tonight, and they made the more plays tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean a big time win for U-High. And Catholic will bounce back, and they have another tough matchup against West Monroe. I mean, West Monroe just had a huge win over North DeSoto. I got to look up the final score for that one, but I know at the end of the third quarter, it was 49-14 West Monroe. So I mean, West Monroe's offense looked really good, man. I believe they scored 47 points last week. And they lost 67-47, but scoring 47, especially on a program like Pulaski Academy, and it starts with the offensive line. They got big offensive line. Uh, I'm excited to talk about that matchup, Jace. You know, we'll meet up on Monday. Of course, that won't be live. I mean, this is we're going to do live broadcasts every Friday. I don't know why I haven't announced it yet, but every Friday, me and Jace are going to do a live show. You know, I mean, unless something happens where Jace can't make it, because something's going on, or I can't do it, or whatever. It's going to be every Friday. And if that happens, I'll always announce it way beforehand for anybody who's tunes in for the show every Friday. We're going to keep doing this, and me and Jace love talking about this, and also just it's always fun to give our initial reactions, because the last 2 years we talk after every game we go to. We just talk on the phone for like at least an hour and a half. And we're like, and I was like, last week I told you, it's like, just why don't we just do this like our recap show like right after the game? So
Yeah.
I'm glad since we're all awake, and well, we're gonna have to wake up early in the morning. I gotta wake up early in the morning to go to the UCLA game. Yeah,
I mean, it's not 11 o'clock, but like 2:30.
yeah, but
earlier
I gotta be. I'm trying to be there like 12, at least by 12:30, just because of the traffic. But yeah. But besides that, let's get back to football. Let's talk about you want to talk about the Santa Mon JFK game we went to last night? Because I know they didn't have a Friday, but that was a great game, man. I mean, JFK, just like they're up 20-14. Santa Mon comes back. They get in the lead 29-28. I mean, just a lot of crazy plays. I mean, it's a very impressive win for JFK to win at Santa Mon, which is always a tough place to play. And you know this, Chase. You're a Baton Rouge native.
Right.
You're also, in my opinion, the best sports writer, and that's not saying that's my friend. I'm saying that in general. Well, outside of Robin, but Robin's a whole different stratosphere.
Robin's the goat.
Yeah, Robin's the goat, bro. Like, yeah, she's a whole different stratosphere.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, I mean, you've done this. Your dad's a longtime coach of Baton Rouge.
Right.
You know about, and you went to Catholic. They played Cinema almost every year. So,
right.
Talk about that win for JFK and what that means for the program moving up, for the team moving forward as they start off 3-0, and they have a big match against St. Paul's next week. But also, were you impressed with St. Amand's before? Because St. Amand, I thought that's a game where both teams won, but only one team could win on the final score sheet.
I tell you what, Grant, you know who I was impressed by is Cooper Babin. Cooper Babin is a stud. He really impressed me Friday night, and Thursday night. Man, like Sam All, like the future's bright. I mean, some of their better players are underclassmen. So you saw it you saw it on Thursday night, and Sam All, that was just great perseverance for him. Resolve. You're down by 2 touchdowns. You come back. Some of those plays were crazy. I mean, like converting the 4th down, that was just basically a jump ball that Caven Taylor was able to come down with, and he's another 2026 guy. Like, they have a pretty good junior class, sophomore class coming up, and then it shows you that, okay, we're going to have that type of game when the fullback goes in motion, they snap it, he just like, oh, there's a football, and he picks it up and scores, and then you're able to get an interception. After that, score a touchdown. You on 4th down, by the way, that's another 4th down that they converted on, was a touchdown, and get the 2-point conversion. And you're thinking, oh, like, this is Sam All's night. Like, in the pit, you go up, you get the 2-point conversion on a crazy play, Caven Taylor again, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, it's Sam All's night. But what JFK did was just so amazing, and it shows so much maturity, and like, talking to Coach, I mean, we talked to Coach after the game. He wasn't happy, obviously, about how the team executed. I mean, 17 penalties. But he told his team it was ugly, but they found a way. Now, he kept on saying, we found a way, and that is what good championship programs do. And I think JFK made a huge step. They made a step by getting that marquee win over Warren Easton, right? And what did we say, Grant? What's the next step? How do you respond to now people talking about you? At that big win with Warren Easton, what's that next step you got to do? And that is continue to stack pile wins together, and that's what JFK did. I mean, Darrensburg is man, he is a heck of a quarterback. I mean, a heck of a quarterback. Just make that throw.
Mhm.
And like it was the only place the receiver can really catch it. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
perfect for James Harris. And to get them inside and field goal range and win that game and kick the game winning field goal really told me a lot of JFK because they still kept on playing. It wasn't their night. Penalties are being
Yeah.
called to them. They're on the road in a bad environment, but guess what? They kept on playing. And that really showed a lot to me about that JFK team. And really getting a win like that, really, I mean, the Warren Easton win was really good, but a lot of things were going their way, right? Now they won when a lot of things weren't going their way, and that's what's going to happen in the playoffs to win games like that. JFK did that. I think JFK really stamped himself as a state championship contender for sure with that win. They cemented it on Thursday night.
Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry, you're kind of breaking up there. I think we should be good. Yeah, because I just hearing static. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Grant.
It just, all right, cool. Let's make sure. Okay, so, yeah, like you said, that was a very impressive win for Jeff. I'm still going to think that Warren Easton win was more impressive, but I think this win is impressive, just because this is the week after you win against Warren Easton, which is probably which is the program's biggest win,
Yeah,
and
it's a
in
big
just in the history. I mean, given what Warren Easton's accomplished in the last 10, 15 years, who they are in the state of New Orleans. The last time these two teams played each other, Warren Easton beat them 48-7 or whatever. I mean, just like so, it was a huge win. But to come back the following week and really kind of on a short week, you have to travel on the road to Saint Amand. That's a very tough place to win. That was a very raucous crowd. Saint Amand's a very well coached team. By the way, speaking of well coached teams, Coach Oliver was actually Coach David Oliver, the head coach at Saint Amand, was an assistant at Tulane when Linares was a player at Tulane in the early 2000s. So it's really just a former player being a former coach in that aspect. So there's a really cool story. But but that's a very well coached team, and so is JFK. Linares is a hell of a coach. Look at what he's done with this program. But to win in those conditions, you had 17 penalties for 160 yards, which is kind of uncharacteristic of this JFK team, who's much well disciplined, and you're still able to pull off the win in the final seconds, nonetheless.
Yeah, that's
So there's a lot. And they're showing you why they're the sorry. Wow, they're the number one team in Division II select.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they are. You've had three wins against 5A teams, so that's going to bump you up a good bit. I mean, and
good.
And they're all and all. I mean, Salville is having some struggles, but you won against Warren Easton, you win against St. Laurent. Those are two very good 5A teams, and you have a chance to pick up another against St. Paul's next week. And St. Paul's is a very good 5A team. So, I mean, that, we both covered them. And I know, we both know the players over there and the coaches. And Brennan, of course, we both have personal connections with Brennan Kime. So they have a great chance of picking up another huge win over St. Paul. So to start off the season 4-0. But before we get into bringing all the games, let's go over the scoreboard, Jason. Once again, we're using the Crescent City's Sports Louisiana Prep Football Scoreboard. Always a great resource to use on Friday nights to know who won, who's doing what in what quarter. Jude does a very good job of uploading the scores as much as possible. It's hard to get over 150, 160 scores into one website, and you got to really look for the scores because you got to go through Twitter. I mean, you got to do whatever you have to do to get scores. So I just want to give a shout out to Jude Young over here at Crescent City Sports, who's a co-owner along with Lenny Van Gilder, and of course the legend himself, Ken Trahan. But first, let's get it started, Jace. Haynes Academy 52, St. John 20. Your dad's school ain't looking too good, man. 20 to 52, man. Ron, you better take care of your school, man.
Yeah,
You,
man, he's a
you
cowboy.
put Ron back at running back. That's how they're going to win. Put Ron back at running back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, Dale Weiner, he keeps on. I mean, you know all the great running backs Dale coach, and he was like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
your dad was one of the fastest backs I ever coached. What the heck happened to him?" I just like shook my head and said, "All right, coach."
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if you guys have been listeners to any of our podcasts in the past, Jace likes to refer to Ron LeJeune as dad. So when he refers to his dad, he's talking about Ron LeJeune, who's a longtime head coach in the Baton Rouge area. So I want to give him a shout out there. But let's go back to the scores. West St. Mary 44, Thrive Academy 6, West Chef 33, Eleanor McMain 0, Southside 27, Madison Prep 14, Madison Prep 0 and 3. So uncharted territory for the Chargers.
That's win-win for Jess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right. It's win-1 for Jess Curtis. So first win as the head coach of Southside. So congratulations to Coach Curtis and the Southside Sharks. Of course, we just talked about JFK Santa Mom. Washington Parish 43, Sterlington 8, Hammond 34, East St. John 7. That was the game we talked about. That kind of was an eye opener for us, just because of who East St. John is and the fact that they lost 34-7 to Hammond. Which, by the way, shout out to Coach Buckles for that huge win. But if you know the history of East St. John, that is a huge loss for the Wildcats. Jeanneret 48, Waikato 14. Two very good programs right there. Sorry, guys. Oakdale 33, Grand Lake 21, Kinder 50, Rose Pond 8, Prime Prairie 60, North Central 6, Sophie B. Wright 14, MLK Charter 6, Springfield 45, Crescent City Christian 12, Lafayette Renaissance 59, Belle Platte 14, Lincoln Prep 45, Beacon Charter 8, Westlake 42, Washington Marion 14, Cato Academy, making sure. Cato Academy, making sure. North Cato 36, Southwood 32, and Southwood's losing streak is still on, unfortunately.
Yeah, still going on.
That sucks. It's still going on. When's the last time they won? Like 2019?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. That's man.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
The Cowboys.
Oh man, and because they didn't play a single game in 2020 because of COVID.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. Right. It's been tough sledding. I mean, but it's going to eventually come. Some of those long losing streaks have actually happened this year so far. So
yeah,
off the schneid.
Yeah, they're getting closer. I'll say that. The last two games have been close for the Cowboys. Yeah. St. Martinville 34, Brobridge 27. Of course, Broadmoor had to forfeit the game. If you haven't heard what happened, they got in a fight with another team. Don't I yard? Oh no, yeah, I don't know. It's a long story. I'm gonna skip it. Really, 64, Terra 0. Cardinal Ritter of the great state of Mizzou 36, St. Aug 20. St. Aug was beaten for a little bit. It was a close game. Cardinal Ritter pulled away. Cardinal Ritter, of course, is one of the top teams. It may be the top team in the state of Missouri. Yeah. They got a lot of dudes who are committed to D1 schools. So
good measuring.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially post Jakeem. I mean, Jakeem Stewart's not the only player on St. Aug, right? But
right.
But like still like I like how St. Aug's been playing these last 2 weeks, given all the distractions that have been going on with the Jakeem Stewart news. And that's not to put blame on Jakeem Stewart. It's just when you have the number one player in the country leave your school to go to another school because you're classifying, there's a lot of distractions there, right? Yeah. So it's a good one for so it's a good thing that St. Aug's keep moving on. Maryville 30, LaSalle 14. So some of these scores have not been updated yet, but they will eventually. So we're going to go with the ones that have already been put in. Elton 44, Montgomery 40, Northwood Lena 28, Pickering 7, Opelousas Catholic 42, Fort Bear 6, Kentwood 22, St. Helena 18, Essentially Catholic 56, St. Thomas Aquinas 12, and Chad Ellis probably ran for 400 yards in that game. We'll probably double check with that.
All right.
Yeah. Hamilton Christian Yeah, he put some Shohei Ohtani numbers, but in football version. Hamilton Christian 13, Fenton 8, Ascension Christian 57, Covenant Christian 21, Sacred Heart 17, Brazil 14, Lakeside 62, Plain Dealing 0, Vermilion Catholic 47, Louisville 36, General Trash 48, Madison 12, East Iberville 32, Northeast 8, North Lake Christian had a bye week, Oak Grove 55, Red River 8, Washington Christian 52, Delhi 6. Or is it Delhi? Is it Delhi or Delhi? Delhi. I don't know why I keep confusing that. Delhi Charter 26, Jonesboro Hodge 20, DeQuincy 45, Oberlin 0, Episcopal 51, Country Day 3. Jace, what happened that game? Pretty briefly before we go into all the scores, because Jace is for any guys who are kind of new to the show, Jace is the announcer for Episcopal on VSN. VSN's done a lot of good stuff with high schools across the state. It's growing as well, and Jace is the main guy for Episcopal. Sometimes he may call another game, like last week he called the U-High Rummel game. So Jace, tell us briefly a little bit about this game.
Yeah, your Episcopal update, I guess, on the Friday night on the Bayou, right?
Yep.
Maybe a little segment there, right? So 6, the running game looks strong again. 6 rushing touchdowns with the three main guys. Reed Chauvin had 3 touchdowns. Nate Sanchez had 2, and David Lynn had 1. Defense was great again. Brody Bailey's had an interception in every game so far this season. Defense has looked really strong, and it was a total dominant performance from really start to finish. It was all Episcopal, and they really built on that second half performance against North Lake Christian, and they just kind of brought it to this game at home and really dominated that game. Zach Hugh made a nice deep pass down the field to Nathan Sanchez. They're working on the passing game a little bit, so I was great to see them two connect. So a lot of positive signs. Got a lot of young guys in the game, and they play really well. So the future's really bright. Saw a lot of young guys get some playing time at night, which is good. So it was a good night all the way around for the Knights tonight.
Oh yeah, no doubt, Jason. So it's a good thing that Episcopal was able to get the win. I know Country Day was playing with I believe there had 31 players on the sideline. Yeah. They only played 14, and then 5 of those guys you said were like over 200 pounds. Yeah. But it's always good to see those teams compete because I know they're dealing with a lot. Right. And by the way, we just got a Warren East the Eagle walk in. They won. I believe they won. They won 20-7 over Slidell. 21-0. There you go. 21-0. He just corrected me.
You got the right. You got the main source right in front of you, right?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, no, so that's what I asked him. So we're good there. Okay. So Prairie Day 32, Delta Charter 14, Holy Savior Menard 20, St. Mary's 17. That's a big win for them. Yeah. Centerville 22, Thomas Jefferson 21, Vidalia 35, Block 34, Catholic New Iberia 43, Patterson 8, Capital 36, Helix Mentorship 26, Iota 35, Marksville 34. Close game right there. Speaking of crazy Friday, that's another close game. St. Fred's 15, Gina 14, Jennings 54, Welsh 29. Livingston Collegiate 47, Young Oddies and Charter 0, St. Martin's Episcopal 42, Patrick Taylor 12, South Beauregard 35, Buckeyes 7, Funky 47, Avoyles 6, Mangum 49, Caldwell Parish 0, Carroll 38, Arcadia 0, Crawley 37, East Beauregard 12, West St. John 34, Donzeville 32, Southern Lab. Well, I think this game's over by now. Probably double check that later in the show. It's probably on Twitter, but hasn't been updated. But Southern Lab was beating Glen Oaks 55-7.
I think Jared Bauer had 4 touchdown passes. That's what I've heard. So he's looking really good so far.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the update, Jace, for that. I mean, another big night for Jared Bowley. Bishop 35, Rayville 0, Franklin 20, Berwick 0, Turnley's Catholic 21, Notre
Yeah.
Dame 10. That was a game that was on our top 10 games for the week. Turnley's picked up their fourth straight win over Notre Dame. So another big win for the Rebels of Turnley's Catholic. West Washington 20, Winfield 0.
Watch this next
Westgate
score.
third. Well, what's up?
Look at this next score.
We're talking about Westgate LCA.
Yep.
Yeah, 39. The Westgate 39. Lafayette Christian 28.
Yeah.
Woodlawn Shreveport 28. Lakeview 0. Yeah, but going back to that game, that was one of our top 10 games right there. Very impressive win for Westgate. LCA is a very good team. They had Rummel down to the final. You know, they had put a big scare in Rummel, and then last week they picked up a huge win over Karen Crow. This week they do it, but this week they fell to Westgate, and Westgate won in convincing fashion. Lossman 14, Bridgewood 8, Assistant Episcopal 38, Abbeville 14, Eastfeld 20, Albany 6, Amy 48, Independence nothing, Pelousas 27, Lake Charles College Prep 12, Church Point 34, Rain 27, Dunham, which is the game I was at, and well, I'll talk about that just a little bit too. That's one of our top 10 games of the for Friday. Dunham 20, St. Charles 15, Ruston 21, Longview, Texas 10. It's a huge win for the Bearcats. Longview is one of the top programs in the state of Texas, beating them at 21-10. That's very scary for the rest of the state. That's very scary.
That's the top team in the state right now for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Minden 20, Northwestern nothing. St. Edmund. Coach Shiver's a bully, man. He's a bully. Shame on you, James Shiver. Shame on you, James Shiver. What kind of coach you think you are? Putting 60 points on Morgan City. 60 on St. Edmund, 60, Morgan City 15. Of course, Shiver is a longtime friend of Jace and I. You know, I got to meet Coach Shiver through Gridiron. So, you know, the Blue Jays are looking hot, man. And that's considering the fact that they also lost Kevon Johnson. Kevon Johnson transferred to Northwest. But Kane West, the quarterback.
Yeah, they can
throw it too. So that's big for the Blue Jays looking hot, man. Kaplan 37, North Vermilion 6, Northwood Shreveport 64, Mansfield 32, Yarburn Woods 52, Grant 30, Iowa 45, Parkview Baptist 35, St. Michael 7, Estrema nothing, and that's gonna be a game that I'm going to talk to you about on your show tomorrow. So I'll be very interested to see what he has to say. But big win for the Warriors. A big win. Sherma is that's a very good team. I really like the team.
That's championship type, like driver's seat for the win.
Oh yeah, that's what they're looking like. Yeah, and St. Michael, pulled off the upset. Lagrange 20, Slaughter Community Charter 15, Leesville 60, Manny 35. That's another game where that's kind of an eye opener. But Manny's been struggling, man. Manny has been really, really struggling. I believe. Let me look at the. Yeah, they 0-3 or 1-2.
I think they're 0-3.
Yeah, 0-3. Yeah. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Look at that. That's rough.
I wonder what the Xavier Ford stat line was of that one.
Yeah, that's a good question. The staff of many coaches because got 60 people on them. Wi-Fi. All right, we're good. All right, back down. Page. Oh my God. Oh no. That's not. Hey, Jason, you can still hear me, right? Here we go. We got it.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, cool. Let's make it sure because, this is the thing about live that sometimes you're kind of scared what happens. All right, here we go. We're back. Port Allen 22, Livonia 8, Jewel Sumner 40, Laranger 28, Loyola Prep 48, Cedar Creek 14, Logansport 44, Bossier 12, Cecilia 64, Northside 25. That was a game Mike Coppers was at. So condolences to our good friend Mike. DeRidder 46, Newton, Texas 36. Another big win for a Louisiana school for Texas. Another Texas school, ERAP 28, Eunice 21. Franklin Parish, a game we've been talking about a little bit.
Shocker.
Franklin
Yeah.
Parish won 32 to 28 over Calvary Baptist. Huge win for the Patriots. And it
Yeah.
seems like Coach Burdett is doing it. They're rolling right now.
Oh yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah.
Franklinton 29. Speaking of eye-popping wins, Franklinton 29, Pine 28. Pines has been looking really good early on. Franklinton has also looked pretty good, but they just solidified how good they can really be with a huge win over
Yeah.
the Raiders. Oh yeah. Frederick Douglass 26. Sarah T. Reed 18. Varnado 14. Aberson nothing. Catholic Point Compete 44. Archbishop Hannon 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doug Combray 34. Beauchain 14. Plaquemine 62. Bel Air nothing. Bell Chase 35. South Platte 12. Big win for the Cardinals. South Platte's actually a very, very good team, and they won in convincing fashion.
Yeah.
West Monroe. Speaking of West Monroe, North DeSoto, we were talking about that earlier. West Monroe 63. North DeSoto 14. That's it. I mean, that's if you want to talk about a shocking result, it's that. I mean, I don't. North DeSoto is probably one of the top teams in 4A right now. They're definitely a top 3 team.
Yeah.
They've been in the semifinals the last 2 years. Went to the state championship in 2022.
Yeah.
And West Monroe put up a 63 burger on the Griffins. And not only that, the Griffins only scored 14 points.
Right.
So that's going to be a very interesting matchup between West Monroe and Catholic.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
Win doesn't shock me, but the margin for sure definitely shocks me on that.
Okay, Homer Christian won over AJ Ellender. As we mentioned before, Broadmoor had to forfeit the game, and that's because they got in a fight with Ellender, and they both had to, cancel their games or forfeit the games, whatever. So win was awarded Homer Christian. All right, Salmon 50, Bogalusa 8, Scotlandville 28, McKinley 7, Warren Easton 28, Slide Out nothing. That was a game that I had to get corrected over by my little brother, but that's okay. St. Paul's 21, De La Salle 14. Yeah, that's a shocking result too.
Yeah.
So De La Salle played St. Paul's tough after a humiliating defeat by Holy Cross 42-12 last week. Vanderbilt Catholic defeated Sulphur 28-6. Very impressive win for the Terriers. Terrebonne
big win.
Beat St. James 24-21, and big win for Tyler Lewis.
Shout out Coach Lewis.
Yep, shout out Coach Lewis. Yep, still undefeated, still going strong. Thibodeau 16, Assumption 13, Lakeshore 41, North Shore 10. The Times looking really scary. Pineville 39, Tioga 36. That's another eye opener right there. Pope John Paul 2, 49, Riverdale 42, Lutcher 28, Liberty 6, Live Oak 32, Ponchatoula 7. Ponchatoula really has not started the season strong at all. And Live Oak's an improved team. Live Oak's is a very much improved team, and they're young too, so they still have a lot of time to grow. But Ponchatoula has not looked good in there.
Yeah.
Mandeville 49, Carver nothing, Neville 34, Holmes County in Mississippi 33, New Iberia 48, Como 23, Riverside 56, Prairieville 13, Fontainebleau 16, Peabody 13, Bourgeois 36. Central Catholic 19. E.D. White beat Hahnville 21-18. Parkway defeated Houghton 48-7. Kenner Discovery defeated L.W. Higgins 24-0. Lafayette beat Mamou 42-0. Sam Houston beat EA 48-24. East Jeff beat the Willis School 33-0. Carr beat McDonald 35, 47-0. U High Catholic, a game we talked about earlier, 27-21. Central 42, Walker 16, Central Lafourche 35, South Lafourche 28. Big time rivalry over there in the River Parishes. Chalmette 9, Holy Cross 7. Shocking result in the parish, Jace. This is a game where I really thought Holy Cross would win. I thought Holy Cross had more talent, but Chalmette, of course, is still a very good team.
Yeah.
Last week was a little bit of a Debbie Downer because they won because of a very good Lakeshore team. They came out ready to play, but the fact that they were able to hold Holy Cross to 7 points is pretty shocking. So it's a big win for Coach Tucker and the Owls. And I believe this is the first win over Holy Cross in a little while too, right? It's
Yeah.
been a little while since Shaw has been Holy Cross, and Holy Cross shockingly started off the season 1-2, which I really thought they would start off the season much better. Just still trying to figure out their offense. Covington 42, Booker T. Washington of New Orleans 14, Denham Springs 16, Woodlawn 13, Touchdown 62, Collegiate 0. Rummel beat Shaw 35-21. Bar beat Northwest 35-32. Uh, that's Northwest played the Bar pretty tough there. So
Yeah.
Northwest still a very good team. North Eberville 56, Ben Franklin 6, Huntington 27, Benton 21. Jesuit beat Bonneville 38-14. Brother Martin came back from behind to beat the Legacy School of Sports Science in Houston, which has a lot of very good players who are national prospects, 34-32. Big one for the Crusaders coming back to New Orleans where they're going to play Jesuit next week. C. Bird beat Evangel 35-23, and Bird's looking like one of the better teams of 5A. Captain Tree beat Natchitoches Central 40-20. Zachary beat Carencro 34-33. Alexandria picked up the big win over Dushan in convincing fashion, 45-27. Katie beat 20-7. Airline beat Union Parish 56-28. Lake Arthur beat Bolton Academy 68-0. Haynesville has a very impressive win over a very good Homer team, 27-12. Good win for the Tours. Orangefield High School of Texas beat St. Louis 20-7, and that wraps up our final scores from Thursday and Friday. You got a big game tomorrow. Well, now you actually don't have big games tomorrow. That's next week. So again, next week because next week got St. Aug and so I believe it was Warren Easton playing the next week. Hey Jackson.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys play St. Aug next Saturday, right? There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's your big game. Thank you big game next week.
Right there. I mean,
yeah.
Perfect journalism right there, Grant. I love it.
Yeah. You can go to the Christmas. Oh, what'd you say, Jackson? Yeah, that's the game for the next week, yeah? I think it's on Saturday. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's next week. That's all we know.
Hey, they're playing next week.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. But yeah, Jace, let's get back to talking about a couple more games before we wrap things up. I want to talk about the Dunham St. Charles game because I was at that game.
Tell me how that went. I'm curious how that game ended. But
yeah, we actually didn't talk about that game much on the car right now, but so it was a scoreless game, of course. St. Charles actually had 3 opportunities to score in the red zone. They missed a field goal the first time, the turnover downs the next 2 times. But then St. Charles was able to score in the final second half. They got the 2-point conversion to take the lead 8-0 in the first half. And I kind of expected this to be a defensive battle.
Yeah.
Both teams had great defenses. Coach Wayne Stein is a fantastic defensive tactician. Yes. I've seen his defenses play even more talented teams than the team that. Yeah, even more time than Dunham's offense, right? And I think Dunham's offense talented, but I saw him go against U-High, and they also nearly shut down Calvary's Baptist offense near the end in the state championship game last year too. So he's a great tactician. But you only do so much for so long because you have to put points on the board, and that the Comets weren't able to do that. So Dunham goes on the field in I believe it's the third quarter. I wrote down my notes, go back on my Twitter. But Dunham was able to score a touchdown. Elijah Haven ran in for the touchdown. He threw the 2-point conversion. They got the game tied. St. Charles Catholic came. Actually, let me go through my Twitter real quick where that happened. So Dunham scored had on a 7-yard touchdown by Elijah Haven, and then they completed the 2-point conversion with 2:15 left to go in the third quarter. And then the very next drive, I'm like not even joking, very next drive, 3rd and 12. It seemed like the momentum's going back to Dunham's favor. This is an area where St. Charles does not feel comfortable in. It doesn't feel comfortable in 3rd and 12 in any situation in a close game, but especially for St. Charles. But Landry LeBlanc threw a 65-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Doster on the dot caught the ball, and then just all you had to do is just run. And St. Charles took the lead, 15-8. But then at the beginning of the fourth quarter, Colin Piku had a strong drive. I mean, Elijah Havey completed some passes, but Colin Piku rushed 3 times for 32 yards on the drive, and he finished it off with a 1-yard touchdown. But the extra point was blocked.
Okay.
So Dunham still losing 15-14.
Okay.
But also the game was on. So the game's also on replay. If you want to go back and know what happened, the game's also on replay on CrescentCitySports.com. Just want to mention that it's also on the YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and watch the game, go do that. I want to make sure I promote this because sometimes I do forget to promote some of the stuff on there because I'm like tweeting out. I'm like thinking myself, oh my god, I forgot to put in the broadcast information for the game.
Yeah.
So I go back and quote it and everything. It's all good. People are still watching. It's a great game, so I'm glad. So whoever tuned in got to see a great defensive battle.
Yeah.
But this is what happened in the fourth quarter. Kind of at the midway point. Like late, well, I'll say like early fourth quarter to midway point. So St. Charles, they got the ball back, and then what happened was they throw a pick. Or actually, let me go back. They threw a pick, and then what happened was Dunham got the ball back, 3rd and long, and then what happened was 3rd and long, passing complete, but there's a pass interference. The receiver was getting clobbered in the end zone, and so they threw a flag. It really bailed up Dunham, and then so St. Charles, they stopped Dunham. 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down.
Yeah.
4th and 8 at the 19-yard line. It was 4th and 8. It's like, no, the pass interference was on 4th and 8. I'm just rereading my tweet.
Okay.
So it was 4th and 8. It was 4th and 8. It was a game. That was the game right there. Pass interference.
Wow.
So that just shows you the kind of the mistakes that St. Charles was making.
Right.
2 plays later, Elijah Haven finds Trevor Heyman for a 19-yard touchdown pass, and that game would give Dunham the first lead of the game. St. Charles got the ball back, but got nothing going. Dunham's defense is showing why they're one of the better defenses in the state.
Yeah.
And they had a few big hits actually on that drive. I mean, St. Charles getting licked on the last drive, which is hard to see. It's very rare to see St. Charles Catholic get pushed around like that. Especially given how physical the Comets really are. But the final score ended up being 20-15. Big win for the Tigers. Big win for Coach Weiner. Had a hell of a week, man. Of course, his dad was inducted to the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Weiner said, and I know Dale Weiner really well. He's one of your teachers at Catholic.
Yeah.
But then also there was a lot of unfortunate news. I know one of his former players who recently played for Dunham too died in a car accident. I believe it was earlier this week, and so there's a lot of distractions throughout the week for Dunham. I forgot the player's name, but he mentioned in the interview. I have to go back and watch it. I'll release the info once I type up the article. I haven't done the article yet, but I will once we're done with the show. But he died in a car accident, so it's a lot of tragedy. I mean, there's a lot of great things happened this week, but there's a lot of tragedy as well. But the Dunham Tigers, big win for the program for Dunham, big win for Coach Weiner, and all prayers go out to the Dunham family as he lost a former football player, a former student athlete, a former student. So, and a lot of those players knew him because he just graduated from there not too long, but that maybe like last year, but like a year or two ago. But it's unfortunate news for the Dunham community. Oh, here we go. So I can actually pull it up right here. Mason Prima, who's a senior at Dunham High School, he died in a car accident on the highway. So all prayers go out to the Dunham community and the family of Mason Prima. So yes. But once again, big win for Dunham and big win for Coach Weiner, big win for the Dunham community. So I mean, that's kind of my breakdown of that game. But let's talk a little bit about this Shaw-Rummel game. I mean, Rummel picks up another very impressive footing. If there's 2 harder teams around the New Orleans area, it's got to be Rummel and JFK. We already talked about JFK earlier, so now let's talk about Rummel. I mean,
Yeah.
What does this win mean for Rummel? Now, next week they have John Curtis coming in, so another opportunity to pick up a huge win.
Hmm.
But man, just talking about how good this Rummel team's been. This team I would say this team reminds me of the 2019 Rummel team because that team was full of dudes,
Yeah.
but they're very similar in the aspects of like they're very balanced offensively
Yeah.
and they're strong defensively. It's an even mix. You don't know what they're going to do offensively. You know they're going to run the ball, but they're very effective in the play action pass. Their defense is strong as ever. Fred Banks is the leader of that defense, especially on the defensive line. Which you were very impressed with Fred Banks.
I was. I
Um,
was.
and that's a bowl game invite I know for
Oh
Gridiron
yeah, it's
for you
coming.
guys are there.
Brad better get
Oh
ready.
yeah,
It's coming.
oh yeah. But yeah, talking about this win for Rommel over Shaw. What's it mean for Rommel in the future, given that they have Junkers next week? But then also, what's going on with Shaw? Like, how does Shaw respond? You have starting off the season 1-2 after so much expectations being thrown onto the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about Shaw, just because the top three teams in New Orleans right now, they lost to two of them, so that's why I'm not too concerned. I mean, like, and right now, in the car, Rumble and JFK are like my three right now in the New Orleans area, just based off how they perform, the wins that they're able
Don't
to.
forget about Brother Martin. I'm saying, don't
Brother
forget
Martin,
Brother Martin's
yeah,
looking
Brother
really good.
Martin
They look
right
really
there
good.
too. Brother Martin's right there too, especially how they were able to win that game against St. Paul's last week was really impressive at the gun, and they
Mhm.
got some weapons, man, offensively, so they're going to be really good. Brother Martin's in that conversation too. But yeah, I've been impressed with Rummel just because of, like you said, this team. This is their best team since that 2019 team, and like if you remember that team, they won a state championship when Donovan Coughlin was the only guy that scored against Catholic. And that's how they won the game. Like they won games that defense was so dominant, but the offense could score when they needed to. That was a fun team to watch, and yeah, I mean this team this year they won in multiple different ways. They showed they can win in a shootout. They have to. They showed it against LCA, right? They show they can win in a defensive type of game, which I think they can win multiple different ways, but I think that's their forte. They want to lean on the ground game. They want to lean on their defense. Gennaro Buggett, your quarterback, making plays when they need to. I think that's the style of play that they want to play with. But I've been very impressed with Rummel. And then remember last year, that was a big win for Shaw. And not only Shaw won that game, they dominated that game last year.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that was big for Rummel to get revenge on them from last year and able to beat them. And that's a big rivalry between the two. So huge rivalry between the
Mhm.
two. So
Oh yeah.
to get the win and get the trophy too, is awesome for them. And be able to win multiple different ways, beat three great opponents. They didn't play any slouches. I mean, you play LCA, you play U High, and then you play Shaw. I mean, all three teams are going to be teams that they expect to be making the playoff runs this year. So that was a huge win for Rummel, and they're just getting more and more impressive, man. With each passing game, they really are. Like high expectations because, like you said, last year they're kind of like a Cinderella team, and this year with everybody coming back, they are strong after calling the game and watching them in person on the road against U High. This is going to be a tough team to beat because, like you mentioned, Grant, they can win in multiple different ways, and when you can do that, you're going to be very tough to beat. And not to mention Nick Monica, he's a Monica. You talk about the St. Charles Catholic
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
All those
Hmm.
can coach. I mean, all those
Oh
kids,
yeah.
they know
Oh yeah.
about football. So add that to the equation, man. When Rumble gets going, when they get right, man, whew, it's
Hmm.
tough to beat them. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, but about Anthony Cortello. I mean, Antioch Court, but better known as Anthony Cortello,
Yeah,
Rebel alum, longtime family friend. Bears looking strong. Yes, they are.
yeah,
But I also want to go to this comment from earlier. Kenny Ramada. I know Grant covered the St. Charles Catholic game. Is St. Charles Catholic not the team they were the last few years? Look young, a whole new team. Great win by Dunham stealing that one. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the same. Of course, it's a very young team. They replaced a lot of the starters were seniors last year. Those starters, by the way, since the time they're in eighth grade, play. Their seasons ended in the dome, whether they won or lost. But St. Charles Catholic, they're a young team, but just remember this: a lot of those guys are coming back next year.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of the fans. I'm not sure if he was a parent, one of the fans, or booster or whatever. But I talked to one of them after the games. Like, yeah, this team's really young, but they're very excited about this group of guys because the coaches they. There's always been a coach at St. Charles Catholic, of course, from start with Monica, and even before Monica, they've had a great winning culture.
Yeah.
But under Steins is a whole different level.
Right.
We're talking about a whole different see, we always just St. Charles Catholic was a very competitive program. They're going to go to the dome every once in a while, but it's a completely different type of attitude. I mean, right now they moved from 2A to 4A, and apparently, and I remember reading this like last year, they're trying to make a push towards the Catholic League. So it's a very different mentality that they brought over there. Since Stein's gotten there. Stein's a great coach, and once again, he's one of the better defensive tacticians in this state. And I would even say the country. So, but St. Charles is fine. I think they're going to be fine. You lost against a very good Newman team that's returning a lot of players who I think is actually good. This might be the first Newman team that will advance to the dome, which is crazy to say given the Mannings and
Odell.
The Mannings, Odell Beckham Jr., but even other players that they were very good too. I mean,
right.
But then also, you lost against a very good Dunham team, a Dunham team that could make it state title push. I know they lost J.J. Harris for the season due to a torn ACL, which sucks for him. He's a great player. But they all still have Colin Piku running the ball, some fantastic receivers. Elijah Haven, the quarterback, number one overall recruit in this class, the class of 2027, and a experienced defense. Who, by the way, a lot of the seniors, especially on the defense, remember losing to St. Charles Catholic a couple years ago. So this was a revenge game for the Comets.
Yeah.
Only
comment I have about what Kenny brought about the Dom St. Charles game. Like, you knew it at the end of the state championship game last year. That was the best senior class in program history and what they were able to do.
Yes, by far. Yeah.
And you were like replacing that senior class. So you knew it was going to be an uphill battle no matter what going to a new year. And especially you got a lot of new stars, a lot of new players. Like, eventually, St. Charles Catholic's well coached. I always compliment them on this. They're probably the most well coached, well disciplined team. They're not going to beat themselves. They're always disciplined. They're going to be fine down the stretch. It's just you got to teach a lot of these guys, and they're playing tough teams while they're doing that with a lot of youth. But St. Charles Catholic's going to be just fine by the end of the season.
Also, I just want to mention this too. They're starting running backs. I believe I remember hearing this correctly. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
Skylar Edwards, believe he's going to be out for a long time or he's going to be out for a year. I can't really confirm that, but that's what I heard. Because I know he got injured in the jamboree. There's either the scrimmage or the jamboree. I forgot which one, but he got injured before the season started. So I think they still look good. Even though they lost the first two games, I still think they look good overall, given their youth. Also want to mention this comment too. This is the last one we have up here right now. Lucas Hill, of course, fourth brother, friend of Jace. He's the guy that actually they never played like he's the successor to you, or like sort of the successor, I guess, in Southeastern play calling, or he's play announcement for Southeastern student. Yeah, so and he also has the podcast which Jason's appeared on, and hopefully I'll get appear on this podcast. I was supposed to appear in this podcast a good bit last year, but something happened. I think if the times would work out, but hopefully I'll get on the show and talk a little bit about high school football and LSU and whatever he wants to talk about, and I'll gladly answer his questions. But let's talk about this is a game I really want to talk about too. Is Ash beating District. I mean, they beat them convincingly. I mean, that was a big time win for Ash. I don't know if Jackson Fields, the quarterback for Destrehan,
Yeah,
played.
I don't.
I don't know, but even if he did play, I felt very confident in Alexandria winning this game. I mean,
Yeah, we both
Jace,
thought.
what do you guys think? Yeah, I mean, what do you guys say about this matchup? I mean, what does this win mean for Alexandria moving forward?
It's big. Like I was impressed with Alexandria when they showed up to our media day at the beginning of the year. I'm like, man, like Coach Botman. Usually, you're only allowed to bring like three guys to a media day, but Coach Botman couldn't make up his mind. He brought five. So like that
Mhm.
shows you how much he really likes this team and like they're big up front. We know about JT Lindsey. You know they're going to lean on JT Lindsey a whole lot. But Carson Sellers is a pretty talented quarterback too, and they got some weapons on the outside as well. And Darius Washington and Jimmy Duncan. So they got some firepower
Mhm.
there
Oh yeah,
offensively. And like they're a balanced team. The only thing is they're playing a gauntlet of a schedule. So it's gonna be one of those
yeah,
things where they may be like the best 6-4, 7-3 team you'll ever see. Maybe like you could see that happen just because of the schedule they're playing.
yeah,
I'm not saying that's what the record's going to be, but you could see that happen, and it'll be the best team
yeah,
in that record. But I think just the matchup going. First of all, Deschamps going on the road, I think was big too. And then when you have the quarterback situation last week, I know the freshman stepped up and did a good job for Jackson last week. So I think just a type of matchup right with what Alexander's strength is and what right now Deschamps' weakness is. That favored Alexandria, obviously. And I didn't think it was a great matchup for Deschamps, even though Deschamps hasn't lost many of these the last couple of years. The type of matchup wasn't great for Deschamps. And what a win this was for Coach Botman and Ash. You know, they've always been kind of like I mean, like knocking on the door, right? You know, they get
yeah,
quarterfinals or they get 1 year they were in the state championship game and had a
yeah.
chance to win the state
2020. Yeah,
championship conversion.
I mean, they're very close to winning that game too. They only
Yeah,
lost
they
by
were.
1 point to Acadiana.
Yeah, they were. And I think Terrence Welch actually won the game for KDN. I think he had
Yeah,
like an
yeah, he
interception,
did. He
two-point
did.
conversion. So that was like Acadian. I mean, Alexandria has been knocking on that door, right? And this is a team that can get right back in the mix when we're like a team that's maybe in the 5A level. We're talking about a sleeper team that can make a deep push for a championship or a deep playoff run. Keep an eye for the Trojans this year because they are a
Yep.
team that's going to be sneaky. That wouldn't like shock me too much if they make a deep run this year and make a really challenge for a state championship this year.
Oh yeah, really. I mean, think about this. They gave Carr a scare in the quarterfinals last year.
Yeah, they did.
I
Yeah,
mean, they upset Brother Mar in the second round, which I actually predicted because I was like, that was just a bad match. Like, this Alexandria team is a bad matchup for anybody. It doesn't matter how good or how bad that team is. They're just a bad matchup because of their size, their athleticism, their
yeah.
talent. The play. I mean, JT Lindsey's a hell of a running back. I mean,
He's going to keep
there's
him in
they
game.
have players. They have players galore. They're big up front on the offense and defense. I
Yep.
mean, Coach Bachman's done a fantastic job with that Trojan program. I mean, Ash is always a uh, scary team to play against, no matter who the opponent is. I mean, they gave Cars a scare last year in the quarterfinals. They upset Brother Martin in the second round. They also made the state championship in 2020, and this is probably one of the better teams they've had. Just in terms of the talent and who they have and the experience, and I think this is a very good Ash team. I think this Ash team could be a sleeper. I know they're in Division One select, but they've looked really. I mean, if you can be Catholic 45, I know that they didn't. No, that was good. I actually did look it up. Jackson Fields did not play, so
Okay.
Destrehan's playing a freshman. But I mean, at the fact that Ash was able to score 45 points against a very good Destrehan team that I'm still really high on.
Yeah, you are.
Um, yeah, I mean, we both are. I mean, Chachere, they're very
Right.
well coached. Mark Scott's done a good job, but
Right.
Ash look like. I mean, they look good. They just look good.
Yeah.
And I think they're a team that definitely can make a push for state. I don't know. Right now, everyone wants to talk about Catholic and Rummel and Carr and Brother Martin, of course. I mean, there's a lot of good teams And I mean, this is a very deep. I mean, it's always been deep. I think that this year in particular is pretty deep, just given the amount of talent on all those
Indiana in
teams.
there.
Kadiana, yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot. St. Thomas More. I mean, St. Thomas More said a rough start of the season, but still St. Thomas More. Turnless Catholic because I had an impressive start this year. Very, I mean, it's a very impressive. Just a very impressive division in terms of high school football. By the way, I also I brought this up on Twitter the other day. I think Division Four select and non select just combine together. I just really do.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Have that. Yeah. Have. But what that was that 6 because you combine them together. No, 7. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be
It doesn't matter.
7 because I think there's 8. There's 8 of them right now.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's talk about. We already talked about Katie and St. Thomas More. We already talked a little bit about Lafayette Christian and Westgate. We already talked a little bit about Notre Dame and Turnless Catholic, UI Catholic, of course, Dunham St. Charles, Chachere and Alexandria, Shaw-Rummel. We talked a little bit of Rush Monroe and North DeSoto. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk a little bit about let's talk about Homer at Haynesville, and then we'll break down Walker at Central. But let's start off with Walker at Central too, because I know we're more familiar with those teams a little bit more. We're more familiar with those teams. Just both covered Baton Rouge high school football, and I was there last year in Baton Rouge. And you're always there. You're a Baton Rouge guy, but Central, huge win over a very talented Walker team. They beat them pretty good, Jace. So what's to say about how good the Central team can really be? Jackson Furman is Iron Man. I don't know how he came back from being from a sling week 1. I think he was on the sling week 1. That had to be a Trojan horse. There's no way this guy, that had to be a. I know he had a car accident, but I was just thinking to myself how is this dude in a sling week 1 and is slinging touchdown passes in week 2? It's just mind-boggling, So shout out the doctors, man. I mean, and we'll really shout out everybody who was there at the scene, the first responders, the coaches, the family, make sure that they're all straight. And luckily, nothing bad happened to them. I mean, the only thing they had to do is go to the hospital, but, you should thank the Lord that none of them were seriously injured. I believe Manny Williams, I'm not sure what update is. What's up?
I think he was on the sidelines for the last game. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. That's good. So he's out of the hospital. I know he's in the hospital. I knew he was doing good in the hospital, but I was sure if he got out the hospital. But
last week he returned back to the sidelines to watch the cheer on his team, which was awesome. That was awesome.
Awesome. Good to see. Good. Yeah. Good. And Manny was the one who was affected the most, so it was good to see here that he was back on the sidelines. But Jace, what are your overall thoughts about the Central team? 42-16, by the way. I mean, what are your thoughts about the Central team? And I said before the year that they're a sleeper to make it to the Dome. I actually texted our old boss, Sleeper King, who is the Central alum. I legit think this team is a sleeper to play in the Dome. I really think they could. I didn't say that, but I asked him do you think this team can make the Dome? Because I was I'm very confident this Central team. I don't think they're going to win the district. I think that belongs to Catholic, but this Central team is a good looking team, man.
And I tell you what, right now, I mean, I know Catholic's coming off a loss, but even when they were winning, it wasn't a slam dunk that Catholic's going to win this district. I mean, just off how Central is playing right now, because I mean they're really tough. I mean, Jackson Furman, when you get him back and him at the week after the accident, it was like nothing happened. He threw for 3 touchdowns and looked like he was back to his normal self. And Colin Thomas, that was awesome to see when Colin Thomas, he connected with him as well. He was involved with the accident. See both those two connect for a touchdown was awesome to see a week ago. But I talked to Jerry Horn's dad as well a little bit, and he said that pass rush they played against was probably, I mean, this is going to be the best they're going to play all year. When you got the Mays brothers, I mean, obviously DK, who's committed. He is a dog. I mean, he is a dog for sure. And then Steven Rennell is a great defensive player for him. They got a lot of really good options there. They're a balanced team. They can throw the football. They play great defense. We called it too that Walker was coming in undefeated too, and they looked really great, really good in their first 2 games. But I don't think they're at Central's level yet. Central is you have to talk about them as far as being one of the best teams in the Baton Rouge area right now. I mean, Catholic lost, you still got to put Catholic in there. U High for sure. Zachary got a big win today over Karen Crow. Some laps looking good. But yeah, Central's in that conversation for sure. I mean, they look really good over a Walker team that was coming in undefeated too, and to beat them pretty convincingly. Like right now, Grant. I mean, I think Central is really my favorite for the district right now.
I don't feel confident saying that yet because Catholic's a team where it doesn't matter. I think going the year that Central and Catholic, even though I still think Catholic is going to win the district, it's not as clear, right? Because even like last year, like even when Catholic still had their struggles, I still thought they were going to win the district. I thought that Zachary just didn't have enough. I mean, they had traded as Granite a couple of players, but I just felt like they didn't have enough playmakers to beat Catholic. I mean, I picked Catholic to beat Zachary last year in our pregame show. Protect the boot, as it was once called. Now it's called ball in the boot, which I still object to. Like I still think protect the boot was much better. No offense, Jace. It just sounds tougher and meaner. It sounds meaner. I don't know. It just sounds meaner. When it comes to the state, you gotta be mean, man.
People balling in the boot. That's all it is. People are balling and playing good. We're talking about.
Yeah, no. And also, but before I want to get into this, I actually want to show you this, dude. Like this is awesome. Our good friend Emil Picarella posted this. Put it in my hands. Keep doubting this, and this was the touchdown that put them in the lead in overtime. So
that was the game winner.
So sorry. Yeah, that was a game winner. So sorry, Emil, for doubting you guys going into the Catholic game, and of course, Emil. Of course, I had Emil on my my one of 3 podcasts, which is the recruiting board, and I had a great conversation with them. I've gotten to know his family pretty well too. His dad's actually from New Orleans, by the way. Went to Holy Cross and everything. I actually found that out when I was talking with Emil on our podcast. But sorry, Emil. Anyway, going back, what were the on that tweet? I'm sorry.
Well,
we were talking about Central. Yeah, Central. We were talking about Central. Yeah, Central. So I still think it's a lot. It's between Central and Catholic. I think it's much tighter than people think because of Catholic. You got J.K. Lee talking about Catholic as University of Catholic High School in Baton Rouge, and I still haven't seen him yet this season. But once I do, I'm gonna mess with them about that for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. But it is true. Like if you want to win the state championship Division One select, you got to go through either car. I mean, there's more teams, but the last few years, you have to go through car and you have to go through Catholic. Period. To get what you want to get. So Central. But the good thing about Central is that I think Central's a better team than Zachary this year. I still believe, even though Zachary playing well, I think Central's a better team than Zachary. Yep. I still think Central's going to be Zachary. I think the district will come down to Central and Catholic. Although
Central Catholic last year too.
It should have been Zachary, and Zachary scored in the final minute. So, but this is a very good Central team. I mean, really, it's a tie. I mean, Zachary's good too. So it's a 3-way race between Catholic and Zachary. But I think it's Catholic, then Central, then Zachary, not Zachary, then not Catholic, then Zachary, then Central. Like how it's been the last few years. But I think this is a very tough district. Although J.K. Lee thinks it's the toughest district in the state. Although you literally have the Catholic League right down the road. But okay.
All I want to say about that,
love you, JK.
Say about that conversation is that when you talk about top-heavy teams,
yeah. That's the tough district.
Catholic League.
That's
right.
To me, I mean, I think you're talking about like in terms of like you have Catholic, Zachary, and Central. I mean, I get that, but in terms of depth, district
Catholic League.
Yeah, 5-5-8, 5 District 2, 5A stuff like Devil, West Monroe, Ash. Right. I mean, look at all those teams in that district. But then you go down to Catholic League. Of course, you know about them. you got district. I believe is it District 3 or 4. That's the Lafayette
That's a
district.
Lafayette.
But
I think
yeah,
that's
the Lafayette district, the 5A Lafayette district with like Southside, Acadiana, um, who else? Karen Crow,
Karen Crow.
Barb,
Yeah.
Sulphur. So I mean, that's a very
Yeah.
tough league as well. So I mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of districts that are tougher than Catholic and Central's Zachary's league, but it's still a very good league.
Yeah.
But before we wrap everything up, before we both got to go to bed, get to end the live show. But even when the show ends, you can come back and watch if you missed something earlier in the show. And also leave timestamps to kind of where we talked about it. Kind of went all over the place today because it was kind of not scripted. Our other shows have really been scripted. It's a live show, it's an instant reaction show, so we're just gonna call it like it is, which is actually a pretty fun way to do it instead of the usual scripted way. But I want to talk about Homer and Haynesville. Haynesville beat Homer. Homer, the big win for Haynesville. Haynesville's a favorite to win a Division 4 down select.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that they're bringing back almost everybody from the team that won the state championship last year, and then also Oak Grove's gone. That's it. I mean, that's number 2. So, what do you guys say about Haynesville and the big win over Homer? And what does this mean for the Golden Tours moving forward?
Talking about the rivalry first, I mean, they've been playing for over 100 years. Like it's like the oldest rivalry in the state. It's and usually you get that type of game like late in the season, especially a historic rivalry like that, like week 9, week 10. But you get that in like week 3. I think that's a really good twist on it. But yeah, that's a big win for Haynesville. I mean, right now, like because of Oak Grove leaving, like that Division 4 and 9 select, like it's wide open, and the team that you're going to naturally look at is like, okay, who they played in the state championship?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was Haynesville, and Haynesville got there, and even a lot of Haynesville fans, because this is in terms of state championships, it's the second winning program in Louisiana history, and wins, it's the winningest. So like they expect going to state championship every year, and still I think some Haynesville fans were a little surprised from about last year's team going to state championship. So I mean, like this is a young team, and Coach Franklin does a great job over there. Homer's really talented. Remember, Homer won the state championship a couple of years ago, and that was their first 70 years. So these are two programs like that are doing a really good job. Obviously, I mean they're both going to be in the running for it when it comes to the smaller school levels. So I mean, tensions are a little tighter when you get this game because it's such a rivalry game and such a legendary just matchup because of how historic it is. But big win for Haynesville. I believe both of us called it too. I believe we both had him in that game. So it was a great win for Haynesville and a really good test for them to start the season too. Yeah, big win for them.
Yep. And before we wrap the show, I want to mention these programs we got right here. Of course, I forgot to show this last week, but this is the program we got from Lakeshore last week. That I think we're just gonna have a collection of programs together, just to keep as mementos as the season goes along. Yesterday, you got the Saint Amand program, pretty big one. It's probably the biggest one.
It's
I probably ever seen
out there.
I mean, it's just nothing but it's a ad, just a lot of ads in here, but it's pretty big. It's probably the biggest one. It's pretty thick, and I've seen some big ones like Brother Mar. I know Brother Mar's got some big. I mean, the high schools have some big ones, but this is thick. This is thick. This is thick. Kim Kardashian thick, bro. Like, and then you got St. Charles Catholic right here. I mean, right here, St. Charles Catholic. St. Charles Catholic. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I should like this. Actually, probably a pretty cool design. I haven't seen this design kind of before, but it's kind of like sciencey and stuff like that. But pretty nice one. But yeah, like I just want to show this off. Probably gonna do that weekly. It's a weekly thing. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm a boomer. I'm the world's youngest boomer. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up our live stream tonight, guys. First one ever here. Ruger Sports Media won't be the last. Me and Jason would be doing this every Friday. We'll be live streaming it every Friday. Around 11 o'clock, usually when the games end. And of course, that's when me and Jace are kind of finally situated after covering high school football, you name it. And also, travel, also, you don't know how long games are going to last.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might be covering games from an hour away. Of course, especially in the New Orleans area, like of course, I live in the South Shore, but it will take like 45 to 50 minutes to even get to like Mandeville times.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like it's actually some long drives, and I didn't realize how far like Mandeville and like St. Paul's were
Mhm.
until like I actually went to go watch, them playing the Jamboree and stuff like that. So
Right.
it's pretty shocking how far sometimes you may travel, especially in an area that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But anyway, Grant Sasser at Chris City Sports and also the owner of Ruger Sports Media. Um, Joined here most of the time, if not always, Jason LeJeune of Gridiron Football. Make sure to look at both Chris City Sports and Gridiron Football's
Good.
websites for all your content for football. And then also make sure to like this video, subscribe to Ruger Sports Media's YouTube channel, and then also make sure to follow Ruger Sports Media, Chris City Sports, and Gridiron Football wherever you make use your social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the show tonight. And we'll see you guys next week. We're going to have a preview show for the upcoming week. And then we'll also have, of course, the Friday the Friday nightcap, as I like to call it, next Friday, where we'll have a bunch of other big games to talk about and react to all the craziness that may happen next week. Because this week was crazy. I
Yeah.
can't wait for next week. So,
Yeah, just getting started, Grant.
oh, yeah, no problem. All right. Thanks, Chase. Thanks for hopping on. Let's go to bed.
Let's do that.